Howdy everyone, welcome to Polcho's meditation session. In today's video, I'm going to do something a little bit different with you. First of all, I just want you to close your eyes. Picture nothing, emptiness. Clear your mind of all troubles. Now I want you to take some deep breaths, in and out. In and out. I can feel the peace and tranquility within you. Now I'm going to tell you a scenario, and I want you to picture this scenario within your head. Are you calm? Are you listening? Wonderful. Let's get started. Pretend you are a hero within Age of Magic. Pretend you've just been created by the devs. You're this beautiful looking character, stunning. You could walk down catwalks. People would awe and gaze at you in amazement. You've got hair for days. You've got stripes, tribal marks, locks, shiny teeth. You are stunning. Pretend that you are thinking to yourself, I am going to impact this game. I am going to be so useful. I am going to be so great. Free-to-play players will spend to get me. Think that to yourself. But upon your release, you are so useless that your family doesn't even invite you to the family photo. In fact, not only don't they invite you, they straight up replace you with a better version of yourself. Look at this beast. Who is this? This is Pride, the tank for the Children of the Forest faction. And that is who we're going to do a video on today. The Hero Spotlight for Pride, the better version of Sabretooth. So let's get into it. Here we are, ladies and gents, with Pride, the tank for the Children of the Forest, and he is part of the Woodland Guardians Brotherhood. This beast will go over his stats like usual, then we'll jump into the arena and have a look what he is capable of. His hit points come in at 2.19 million, his speed is at 206, his armor is at 67k, magic damage resistance 31k, basic damage is at 157k, his critical hit chance is 16%, critical damage 260. So we'll go over his stats more in depth. Again, you guys can stop this wherever you want and have a look at the stats in more detail if you wish. It is there for your knowledge. There you go, guys. There we are. Okay, so we're going to jump into the arena, look at his abilities, what they look like, their animations, and talk about what you could do with him. So yeah, let's do it. So going over Pride's basic attack, we have Rage Claws. Damages one target, deals 33% more damage to the target under a debuff that causes them to take extra damage. So it's a basic attack that can potentially do a bit of damage. The second part of the ability has a 100% chance to perform a support attack on the target under a debuff that reduces their damage output. Now this is the part that confuses me. Correct me if I'm wrong, but this is how I understand support attacks working. A support attack can only happen when another hero on your team performs an attack. A hero can't perform their own support attack. So if Pride does attack a hero with this debuff, he shouldn't be able to perform his own support attack. Another hero on the team would have to perform the ability, and then he would perform the support attack. We'll go ahead and use the animation just to see what it looks like. So we're going to use it against Anea. 870k basic attack, followed up by the support attack from Stealthy. You see how that works? She has an ability or a passive that allows her to support attack. So I had to do the attack just because I know I'm going to run out of time on the timer. I started this video a bit later. But going back to the topic, what confuses me is if this does perform a support attack, why is this part of his basic skill description? This should be part of his passive, where he performs a support attack against a target when an ally attacks a target that has the debuff that reduces their damage output. It makes no sense that it's on the basic attack, because support attacks also don't count as basic attacks. That's a thing that I don't think new players would understand, or maybe some older players don't know it as well. A support attack is not the character's basic attack. A support attack never ever carries the effects of the basic attack, unless there's an exception out there that I'm unaware of. So yeah, it's a bit misleading, I think, having that description in there. I'll double check on it though. Maybe I'm completely wrong, but that's how I understand it. So moving on to Pride's first special, we have Chieftain Rush. Triggers the tank class mark and has a 4-turn cooldown. Deals 3 strikes in a row on one target. Has a 20% chance per Woodland Guardian ally to increase allies' damage by 40% for 2 turns. Has a 20% chance per Woodland Guardian ally for another ally to perform a support attack on the same target. So a few things about this ability. Number one is it's really, really weird. The reason it's weird is because it's not really a tanking ability. It's a support ability with the potential to do a lot of damage. It makes sense because he is a tiger. He's a saber-tooth. I don't know what species you want to call him. Cat, whatever. So it makes sense that he is doing a lot of damage, but there's literally 0 defensive capabilities with this ability. So other things to point out, this 40% damage increase is pretty big. Pretty big when you consider Stealthy, who can also get a ton of damage amplifiers as well. She has, I believe, 3 different ways she can get damage amplifiers, which are 33% each. So add this on top and she will be a weapon. Of course, it's conditional. You need to get a lot of things lined up, but the ability is, the chance is there for it to happen. The next part of this, which is gonna diminish his effectiveness when he's released into the game. Woodland Guardian. As of this moment, there are only 2 Woodland Guardians in the game. That is Pride and Stealthy. The other Children of the Forest aren't, and there's no other characters that are included in that. My guess would be that when the Druids are reworked, they would become part of the faction, and I really hope the other Children of the Forest are added to it as well, along with a few others. I don't know, but it has the potential to be a very strong faction. So we're going to go ahead and use this ability on the Danae and have a look at how much damage it can do, because it's essentially a damaging ability. So we're going to go ahead. So Danae is dead. Yeah. Pride the tank, everyone. We're going to move on to his second special ability. I don't know what to say. What? Why isn't that the ability of Sabertooth? For example, the melee damager has the ability to one-shot a character on the enemy team. Why is the tank doing that amount of damage? I understand there was also the support of Stealthy, but Jesus, Mother of Buddha, that... I'm getting Vietnam flashbacks of Goon doing ridiculous damage. Why are the tanks? The tanks aren't doing the jobs they're meant to be doing. All of a sudden, they're becoming the strongest damage dealers in the game. This video isn't a rant video. This is a spotlight video. So we'll move on to his next special ability and see what that does. So we are moving on to his second special, Courageous Defender. Again, triggers the tank class mark. Ability cooldown is 4 turns. So damages 1 target. Provokes enemies to attack only him for 3 turns. That is a pretty decent taunt. 3 turns, nothing to scoff at. Guaranteed to perform a counter attack to the enemy's next 2 attacks. So, okay, got a bit of damage output as well. Got the counter attack. The provoke, amazing. Again, he's a tank. This is a good ability for a tank. So, so 4 turns. So you almost have 1 turn of cooldown left before you can just reapply it, which means he's probably a high priority to take out. I mean, he almost is a high priority to take out because he's also a ridiculous damage dealer. I guess the question you would have to ask yourself is, when do you want to use this ability? Do you want to use it first and get everyone attacking him? Or do you want to use his other ability first and have potentially wipe out a character straight off the bat? Imagine wiping out a Sacrif or a Lucky or the healer for the enemy team. It puts you at such a strong advantage right off the bat. Again, this video is designed to have Pride attacking. So the enemy would go before you because, remember, Pride's speed isn't that high. So it's going to take a while for his turn to come around. But yeah, he has the potential to do a lot. So we're going to go ahead and use the ability, see what it looks like. We're going to go ahead and use it against Abaddon this time. Okay, so again, gets a support attack off Stealthy. He has the taunt. It's a nice looking ability. They've done really well with him. He's actually a really nice looking character. I like the red that sparks out of him when he's using his abilities. I like this ability. I think it's a strong tank ability. What I wish was a little bit different about this ability was they got rid of the, let me get my mouse on the screen, guarantee. I wish they got rid of this. I wish they turned this into an ability that gave him a defense, made him a bit tankier. But then would he become too strong? I don't know. Maybe that's for a reason they don't. Or some sustain. Give him some health back or something. Because Sabretooth has sustain. It makes sense that he would have sustain as well. They're both cats or tigers, whatever. I don't care. But I just don't think this really works with him. This faction doesn't work with counterattack. They're not a counterattacking faction. They're just a bit of a nuisance faction. They just do a lot of damage. They quit. Yeah, not a fan of this. Just change this, and I think he would have been pretty good. So yeah, his actual tank ability is pretty decent. There's nothing I can really say other than the changing that last bit. Pretty solid. We'll move on to his, I believe it's his passive, and see what that brings to the table. Moving on to Pride's passive, and I had to read this a few times. I had to test it. I still don't quite know what's going on, but let's go over it. Okay, his passive is called Breakthrough. At the start of the battle, gives a debuff to all enemies, which doesn't let them hide from attacks for 1 turn, regardless of all other effects. Pretty straightforward. That's the easy part of the ability. So as you can see, the enemies on the screen, they're not able to hide, which works with Stealthy, because Stealthy does extra damage against enemies that cannot hide. So they got a bit of synergy there. Pretty nice. Move on to the next part of the ability. Still easy enough to understand, but it's getting a bit more confusing. Has an extra 20% chance per another Woodland Guardian ally. So with Pride and Stealthy on the team, I believe it's only a 20% chance, because other Woodland Guardian ally, to cast the same debuff on all enemies at the start of his turn. So when his turn comes around, he has a 20% chance per other Woodland Guardian allies to apply this non-hiding debuff again. Move on to the third part of his ability. If the target already has that debuff, so if it comes to his turn and they're already hidden and he goes to apply it again, then that target will take an extra damage equal to 33% of their max HP for 2 turns. The damage ignores armor and resistance to magical damage. So all of a sudden, he's doing 33% damage to them for 2 turns? Or anyone is, I guess. So as you can see, the debuff is cast upon them. So we're going to go ahead and try and proc it again. So there you go. We've got the debuff on Worm Priest and Danae. They take an extra 33% damage. So we're going to go ahead and attack with Sabretooth. Let's attack with Sabretooth. We're going to attack Danae and see how this works. So what ability do we want to use? We'll just use Shredding Claws. So Shredding Claws did 1 million damage. Nearly took out Danae. So from what I understand, when we were doing his Pride's first special ability, the Triple Strike one, that's where all the damage was coming from, was because Danae had this debuff on her. So that is insane. We're going to go ahead and attack with Lucky. We're going to use our auto attack against Danae. So does she take... She should just die from the auto attack? No, it does 270k. Stealthy comes through and finishes her off. So where did the 33% extra damage or damage to... You see, that's the confusing part. Where's the 33% damage? Because that should have killed her outright. If she's taking an extra amount of damage... Let's go ahead and just basic attack Abaddon. See, that looked like more like 33%. It's interesting, very interesting. I'll have to ask Playcott how it's working. But as you can see, Pride is a monster damage dealer. This is what Sabretooth should have been. Take all these damage abilities, give them to Sabretooth, and then make Pride an actual tank. I mean, he does have that good taunt, but he's just... That's insane. Essentially, if more Children of the Forest come out, you're going to get rid of Sabretooth. I don't see any reason for having Sabretooth, and replace Sabretooth with the caster or the boss of the faction. I think those are the two characters still missing, and it has the potential to be quite a powerful faction. Mix that with the Woodland Guardians, you may even get rid of Lucky, Sabretooth, and Softy, and go Dreverard, Cathbad, Pride, Stealthy, and then maybe chuck Lucky in there. And then you've got a pretty solid team. Because as you can see, between Pride and Stealthy, I don't think you really need any other damage dealers. They can wallop. That's all you need. Then you'd have Dreverard and Pride as your tanks. That's a lot of taunt. A lot of taunting. Dreverard with his slow as well. And I believe Stealthy does do extra damage to characters that are slowed. She does extra damage to characters that cannot hide. You've got Pride adding the extra damage as well. That is... all these combinations going through my head. My prediction would be, and I don't... please don't do it and then blame me if it doesn't come to fruition. I would say invest in Dreverard and... not Dreverard and Ilios. Dreverard and Cathbad. I have a feeling Pride will be the next Magic Pass hero. But, that's... Pride does a lot of damage. Pride and Stealthy combined will do a lot of damage, mixed with Dreverard, Cathbad, and then your next slot. I think you'd go for a hero that can reduce the enemy's damage output. If there's a character that can do that, I think that will be the team to use. But yeah, Pride, there you go. The tank of the Children of the Forest. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for watching. If you do have any questions, feel free to leave a comment below. I'll answer it to the best of my ability. And wherever you are in the world, until next time, please take care of yourself.